My name is Darren Ray Fonso, and I'd like to talk to you today about workers' compensation and state med tort laws that have been stacked against we the people, state by a group named ALEC and our state chambers of commerce. We have a war being waged upon patients and injured workers. We're being denied, delayed, and defended against once we're harmed or injured on our job. Not only in workers' comp is this harming us, but in our private insurance as well, we're being harmed and denied and not being able to fight back against the harm done in our care thanks to state med tort laws. That's how these people are harming us. It's through our workers' comp and state med tort laws. The group ALEC has gone state by state and bought out our state legislators. And our state legislators have stacked the deck against injured workers and individual patients' rights. Our leaders from both parties know this is going on, but none of them want to do anything to change it. They're all happy with the industrial elite and private companies profiteering off the harm to injured workers and patients in our country. I have tried to seek the help of Washington State Senator Rick Larsen, who refuses to do anything about it and ignores this harm is going on to people. I have sent other senators like Senator Patty Murray and Senator Bernie Sanders have come out and stated in public and sent a letter to the U.S. Department of Labor asking for federal intervention into our broken state workers' comp systems. So there are a few senators. There's like 10 U.S. senators that have spoken up, but only one U.S. senator from my state of Washington, Senator Patty Murray, has come out publicly and stated that we need federal intervention into our broken state workers' comp systems, where workers have been working for decades and then harmed on the job, then cheated out of the grand bargain that we pay for here in Washington State. We pay half of the premiums right alongside our employers. I have another state. I've tried to get in contact with several state senators, only to be ignored and shunned, which happens to injured workers quite often because the industry and society doesn't want to listen to a minority group that's being harmed. This is a class war by the elite industrial complex that has bought out our state laws and our state legislators to carry out this war on injured workers. I have a video that I'm going to attach here that states a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm also going to try and put up some links to the Demolition of Workers' Comp, which is a report that was put up by NPR that says our state workers' comp systems are broken and inadequate and creating inequality for injured workers across the nation. Like I say, our leaders know this is going on. I have one state leader that says that she's willing to help me, that she's willing to speak up for the injured workers, but only in private. She doesn't want to come out in public and say that this harm is being done to injured workers and that she's going to try and help me fight, but I need to help dig up the information for her, and I have to do the legal legislative research to prove my side, when she's got her own staff that could be doing that. I've brought to her proof in two claims, my claim and my father-in-law's claim, where IMEs were being used and to wrongfully deny us our claims and our PPD awards. We have doctors omitting the truth in our care to deny care and then hiding behind med tort and work comp laws for the harm that they do. The injured workers expose this through their appeals, and we win on our appeals after a year, 2 or 5 years through this process that we get bogged down in, and we win and we prove our side. But all of those IMEs that were working against us, no harm ever comes to them for trying to wrongfully deny us, even after we prove they were wrong. Also, the IMEs are companies that are doctor mills that private equity hedge funds are profiting off of. So we're hiring these IMEs, and they're private equity hedge funds that have these companies, and they hire these doctors to omit the truth in our care to try and deny us our care in workers' comp and other health insurance needs, auto accidents, whatever it may be, They're not second opinions. They're tainted, one-sided opinions that are bought and paid for by the insurance industry. Anyways, I hope to share a little bit of information with you about it. Like I say, I'll put some links up here to the workers' comp, the war on workers' comp, the demolition of workers' comp, which was put out by NPR, and maybe some other links to some newscasts that prove what I'm saying is going on. I mean, we had King 5 News here in Seattle reporting on injured workers at Hanford. And our state AG stepped in to help those injured workers, where their union was being blackballed into forcing the workers to work in unsafe working conditions without breathing apparatuses that they needed because of all the vapors that are coming up. And their union was getting blackballed for wanting their workers to be safe. And then once those workers were injured, the comp system doesn't want to take care of them on the federal level or the state level. Now, our state AG did step up to help the workers at Hanford because they're federal employees. But when it comes to the rest of the employees in our state AG can't help us. He stated to me in writing that he can't do it because his hands are tied because politically and legally he represents the state. So he cannot stand up and fight for the harm being done to injured workers. Only federal workers, which I'm glad he did do that. But all the rest of us workers are left to fend for ourselves. Many of us are unable to get lawyers because the deck has been so stacked against us. And the lawyers don't want to take the smaller cases because there's no money for them to be made off the smaller cases. They only want the bigger cases where there's a third party to be sued, like a car accident or something like that while you're at work, and there's a third insurer that they can, with deep pockets, that they can sue and they can make some money off of. The rest of us, there's not enough money on our small claims to be worth their time, which legislatively, economically, and judicially has locked us out from being able to fight for our grand bargain. Basically, what's going on is the deck has been stacked against us. We have judges, workers' comp judges from California telling us that the deck is stacked against us. We have another report out of California from their mainstream media telling us that the deck is stacked against injured workers, where a nurse ended up committing suicide over the denials, delays, and defense in her care. I have another case where a police officer has done the same thing. Also, out of California, there is news reports of firefighters having a building dropped on them, and then having to fight for the workers' comp claims and not getting covered or being denied care after they have injuries. This is wrong. This is not justice. This is corporate America trying to get out of the grand bargain and their fiduciary duties under the work comp system. And like I say, it's not just workers' comp. It's in state med tort laws as well. My wife was injured after having some complications in her care, and the doctor harmed her, and because he was intently trying to play gatekeeper and deny her a blood test that would have we were sent there by the ER to get from this doctor, who chose to play gatekeeper, and she ended up he ended up not doing the test because he thought we didn't have insurance. It ended up that we did, but he wrote her a note and said work on getting insurance, which we ended up having. So he ended up getting paid anyways for denying a basic blood test that she needed, that had he had given it to her, she would not have been bleeding out for 2 weeks internally and having to go back to the hospital and have a blood transfusion times 2 before they could do a DNC procedure that she needed done, and that should have been done in the first place by the hospital anyways. Nonetheless, this harm is done, and we can't hold any of the people to account for the harm that they do through state med tort laws, because the state med board protects all these people who harm us in our health care and says it's the standard of care, which we didn't have to try to fight, but we can't fight anymore because the courts have been stacked against the people's patients' individual rights and workers' comp rights. And the grand bargain. So I'm just really frustrated, and I would like to share that, I have one senator who's been state senator who said she's been willing to help me. And she's been for a year and a half telling me, oh, yes, you need investigations, and we need to have some hearings on this. And for me to gather this information of all the harm being done to people so that we can use it and share it to help stop this abuse from happening to people. But she does this all on instant messaging, all in the dark. And she says, be quiet about it. Don't tell nobody that I'm helping you. So I have to wonder, is her intent truly to help the injured workers and individual patients in Washington State being taken advantage of by the workers' comp and state med tort laws? If she's not willing to come out and publicly say this harm is being done and blow the whistle so that we can stop this abuse from happening to people, then how is it ever going to get fixed? And also, if she's a state senator, if she's not willing to come out and say that we need the federal intervention that Senator Patty Murray, U.S. Senator Patty Murray, is saying that we need, then is her intent really to help? Or is it just to lead me on and pacify me that, yeah, she's interested in, yeah, this is wrong, and yeah, we should help these people, and oh, yeah, I want to help you, but she won't come out publicly and say that this is wrong and something needs to be done. And why isn't she, it's been a year and a half, why isn't she calling for legislative hearings to stop this abuse to injured workers that is going on? That, like I say, and I'm going to share with you, is all these reports that prove injured workers are telling the truth, that they are having non-catastrophic injuries. Both people are getting harmed by it, the ones with catastrophic injuries, but more so the non-catastrophic injuries like rotator cuffs, carpal tunnel syndrome, herniated discs, and basically soft tissue damage that's happening on the job from repetitive stress from years and decades of work that the insurance carriers are trying to get out of by denying, delaying, and defending against us in our care. They starve us out and wait us out, hoping that we will give up. And even if we do win, like I won on mine, I guess you could call it winning, they give you a small settlement that's only like 6 months worth of wages and try to send you back out into the workforce and never do try to give you vocational services. This is wrong, it's not just, and people need to, our leaders need to speak up and help us. We have political leaders from both camps, Republicans and the Democrats, know this is going on, know this is harming people, and know that it's one elite class harming others with their pens and then hiding behind med tort and work comp laws for the harm that they do. We need our leaders to speak up and stop ignoring this abuse that's going on so that private equity hedge funds can profit off the abuse and denials of injured workers and private individual patients in their private insurance. We're being cost shifted off to the ACA and also to Social Security. That was not what the grand bargain was about. It was about taking care of us and retraining us and repairing us. And that's not going on. What should be happening is we should be getting the 3 R's. Repaired, retrained, and or retired. Instead, what the injured workers are getting in Washington State and every state across this country is the 3 D's. Delayed, denied, and defended against. This is not a grand bargain. The grand bargain has been eroded. NPR, 10 U.S. senators, the U.S. Department of Labor has said this creates inequality in our workers' comp systems. So if all of this is going on, why are not my state leaders like Senator Rick Larsen, my U.S. representatives, Rick Larsen, Adam Smith, Denny Heck, Susan Delbene, where are your voices as patients are being harmed for profit in our state so that insurance companies and private hedge funds can get rich off the abuse of the working laboring class. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say for now. But I really don't understand, and I'm really upset that I've got one state senator that for a year and a half has been telling me that, oh yeah, she wants to help me and they dig up some information for her and dig up the facts for her. Doesn't she have a staff that is able to do that? Doesn't she have legislative aides that are gone to college and know how to do that? Why is she having me, the injured worker, try to come up with these facts that she's going to then present to the business community and try to persuade them that we need to do something? I don't need my state senator to persuade the business community that we need to do something. What I need my state senator and my federal senators to do is step up to the plate and write some legislation that tells the business community that you're no longer going to use insurance companies and state med tort laws to harm the patients and our individual rights. I can't believe that she would even be asking me to do that as the injured worker who the state workers' comp system has said they harmed my mental health in my settlement by trying to wrongfully deny me and lying about my care in my back with a herniated disc that the doctors were trying to call just a strain so that they could get out of covering the harm that was done by the on-the-job injury. I'm just baffled that my state senator will say, yeah, I want to help you. Yeah, I want to help injured workers. I believe in your plight. I believe in your fight. But don't tell people I'm trying to help you, and let's keep it all on the down low, and let's be quiet about this. No, Senator Marilyn Chase. I want you to come out, and I want you to speak up loud and clear and let the world know that people are being harmed. It's not something you're going to fix at the state level, but you can use your voice as a state legislator to call and beg upon all these other U.S. leaders to step up to the plate and write some legislation that stops our state laws from being used against us. I'm livid. This is not right. This is not just. We're adding insult to injury, and then I have senators that could be doing something and could be out there speaking up loud and clear if somebody's being harmed in our country by laws that are hurting people for private corporations to profit. By God, I want you to speak up and be yelling from the top of the rafters that this is going on. Not telling me, oh yeah, I want to help you, but let's keep it quiet and keep it on the down low till I get all the facts together. I've got all the facts for you. I've got 2 cases where I can prove that the IME doctors were harming me and my father-in-law, who was worked to death at Walmart after his on-the-job injury. And we won our PPD awards. Why did we have to fight and go through appeals to get those awards awarded when people shouldn't have been trying to deny us to start with? And then when we catch these IME doctors and these companies that hire them omitting the truth in our care, the state does step in and say, okay, well, pay these people their PPD awards after a long, lengthy appeal battle. Why are we going through the appeals to start with? And then once we do, and we catch these people red-handed trying to harm us in our care and intently deny, why are they allowed to continue to be IME doctors? Why are they not even getting a slap on the hand for the harm that they do? No. What happens is they go out and do it again the next day to the next injured worker and the next patient. This is patient abuse. This is harm. This is human rights violations. This is going on in the state of Washington and every state across this country, and we need our leaders to speak up, not be saying, shh, don't let nobody know I'm trying to help you. This is bullshit. Senator Rick Larsen, you need to get up off your ass and help injured workers. And get out there and share the word that these insurance companies are profiting off the abuse of trying to deny us our grand bargain, which people fought and died for 100 years ago. That's all I got to say today. But I'm going to continue to send out these reports. I'm going to continue to talk about the harm being done to people so that private institutions can profit off the denial and theft of the grand bargain. Senator Sells, he knows this is going on. I've been fighting for a long time, and I've been trying to get my state leaders' help. Started out 5 years ago with trying to get Senator Nick Harper on my side, and he ended up quitting. None of them will step out and come out publicly and state that this is abuse and that this is a class war being carried out in our health care. We need our leaders to speak up, not be silent as a war is waged upon us by capital industrialists. Once again, I'll try to share more and put some supporting facts up here to show what I'm saying. But I've been doing that for a long time now. I've been sharing stories from across the nation, all over my senators and congressmen's web pages, and with no response from them. They arrogantly ignore it. A lot of them, the state ones, close you out completely out of their Facebook pages because they don't want to hear about it. The federal and U.S. government leaders, they don't close you out as much because I think they got some kind of rule where they got to allow you to voice your opinions to a certain degree, even though they've locked you out from adding links to your comments because they don't want you to share your supporting evidence. What we have here is a war being played out by elite industrial complex on the laboring class, and then we're hindered legislatively, economically, and judicially from being able to fight back and utilize our rights. And lawyers won't step up and help us, so then because it's not in their fiduciary interest, so we're forced into being our own lawyers per se, which drives many of us mentally insane because we don't have the resources that the big law firms do, and we're forced to search out and dig up, do legal research, and be our own legal secretaries and be our own advocates. And this is wrong. And here in Washington State, we do have a state ombudsperson, but only for the private insured companies, only for the employees that are injured by employers that have a private insurance. They've got a state ombudsperson for those people, but for all the rest of the injured workers, we don't have a state ombudsperson. I think that creates an unconstitutional disparity between the injured workers in Washington State. Why does one set of injured workers have access to legal advocacy where the rest of us don't? Is that fair and just for all the injured workers in the state? No, it's not. And even some of the senators tell me, that's wrong and that needs to be fixed. But nobody's putting forth any legislation to make that happen. So it's an unconstitutionality that we, the workers, can't even get in before the courts because the courts are stacked against us from even being able to share the harm that's being done to us. It's oppressive. It's the state laws that have been stacked against we, the people, so that we can't utilize our rights in workers' comp and state med tort laws. Any other nation would do this to their people, it would be called oppression. But here in America, it's called business as usual. This needs to stop. We need our state leaders and federal leaders, most of all, to step in and do something. Because the state legislators, even if they do get a little change here and there, the work comp football gets kicked back and forth. From a couple years, things will kind of lean the way for injured workers, and a couple years later, it'll lean towards the employers, and then a couple years later, we keep kicking the football down the road, and nothing ever gets fixed. And to the contrary, for the last 30 years, the deck has been being stacked against the injured workers and labor. I urge you to please contact our state legislators and our federal legislators and all of them across this country. Like I say, Senator Bernie Sanders has spoken up. Senator Patty Murray has. Al Franken from Minnesota, I think it is. He's spoken up. They've written a letter to the U.S. Department of Labor stating that we need federal oversight over our state workers' comp laws that ALEC and the Chamber of Commerce have stacked against we, the people. This needs to stop. This is abuse. It's harming and bullying people, and suppression. That's all I can say. Is it's oppressive when you can't even get justice because lawyers don't want to step up because it's not in their financial interest to try and help you, but yet we have no other way to get justice in our care. Once again, it's Darren Ray Fonso, and thank you for listening to me. and take time to investigate what's happening to injured workers. I forget what the number is, how many injured workers are injured on the job every day, but it's quite a large number, and nobody is immune from an on-the-job injury. Anybody that labors for a living is at risk of being injured on or by our jobs. And there's one more thing that Senator Patty Murray has come out, and she's standing up and fighting up for the meat packers, for the meat packing industry, where at Tyson Chicken and all these other companies, these workers are doing labor-intensive jobs and repetitive stress jobs, and it's harming their bodies. And then once they get harmed, once again, the workers' comp systems deny, defend, and delay against us. Workers are being made homeless over this. Yet the same senators that say they want to fight homelessness and they want to stand up for injured workers won't come out and want to try and fix a broken workers' comp or state med tort laws that are creating the homelessness for quite a few people to start with. Nonetheless, we have a system that is broken. NPR calls it broken. The U.S. Department of Labor says it's inequality. So then why are not our state and federal leaders stepping up to the plate and telling us all about this? Why does it got to be NPR that's telling us? Why does it have to be King 5 News that tell us that things are broken? Why are not state and federal leaders, besides Senator Patty Murray in my state and the other 9 across the country, speaking up and saying, let's do something about this, instead of just letting things go on as they are, a war on injured workers and individual patients' rights? Once again, thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I will try and put in some supportive information into this video as well, or some links to it, so that you can see what's really going on and see that it's not just me telling this story, that we've got a petition out there with 5,000 injured workers across this country who have signed it and commented on it, that they're being harmed. The industry likes the insurance industry likes to say it's only a few people being harmed, and so that everything's all good. Even Senator Marco Ilias in my state did a video that said workers' comp is not broken. Well, I'm sorry, Senator Marco, it is broken. And the NPR says so. 10 U.S. senators say so. My 2 cases that I have with mine and my father-in-law say so. And like I say, NPR and news reports from across the country are showing us that it's broken. So quit sitting there telling me that it's not broken and that you've got this great trickle-down theory, economic theory, that harming people in workers' comp is a good thing because it's going to get good comp rates and those great jobs coming in that never do come. Nonetheless, I will keep sharing information, and I'm going to keep trying to put out some informative videos that explain more of what's going on and backs up my assertions here. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening. Have a good day.